the dichotomy here across the United States. Devin, you're in the Northeast. What's happening with real estate prices up there? You're watching a segment from a Freedom Mentor live stream. Join us for our next live event. Go to freedommentor.com/live.
The prices are strong. If you're a seller, there's a lot of buyers, especially as things are shaking up with interest rates. If you price your property appropriately, you're going to get a good number. You're going to get multiple offers. As you know, Phil, I had 2 flips on the market. Both had multiple offers within the last 3 weeks. So the market's strong, especially when you price it right. And one of the things that we teach here is you price the property right, and the market will drive it to its value. The flip that's under contract right now, we priced it at $350. I knew it was probably worth $375. If I listed at $375, I probably would have not gotten the higher number that we got. Now we have an offer for $405 with $10K back for closing costs and prepaid expenses, so $395, right? Mm-hmm. So in the Northeast, the market's strong. Like I said, it's an older inventory. There's not as much development. There's not as much new construction. So as a seller up here in the Northeast, things are good.
Yeah. I read an article today, and I believe the data was coming from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. The statistics on year-over-year price appreciation were shocking. Ready for this? The fastest or the largest increase in year-over-year single-family home values, Rochester, New York. There you go, right? Wow. So all of us in Florida and Texas and Arizona and California that think we live in such a great state with wonderful weather and all this, well, look who's laughing now as they're digging out of the snow, right? They got the 10% appreciation rate. You're right. What's happened is there hasn't been a lot of building in so many parts of the Northeast, but not just the Northeast, other parts of the country too. The places where people left from COVID, the places where people thought were less desirable, they're having huge gains right now. And meanwhile, Florida had a net loss. They were less than 0% on their year-over-year appreciation, which definitely took a lot of investors by surprise. This is why what we teach our apprentices is that at all times in the marketplace, we're always conservative if we're going to get on title. Now, obviously, if we're flipping the property before we get on title, there's less risk. It doesn't matter. But if we're going to get on title, we're going to do a rehab, you've got to be careful, because even places like Florida could have complete changes in the values in almost like out of nowhere. I mean, look, we have interest rates at 6.5% or 7%, and yet Rochester, New York went up by 10%. It's possible, right? And our folks in that neck of the woods have been living large and in charge. They're loving it. We have been coaching and mentoring real estate investors for 20 years. In fact, some of America's most successful investors got their start with us. Here's what our apprentices have to say about working with us.
Freedom Mentor was probably one of the biggest blessings I've had in my life.
For us, it's been life-changing, hands down. Couldn't even think about not doing this, right? And what a missed opportunity if I had not done it.
And you can be next. Learn more about our program in the top right corner. Brian, what are you seeing from different parts of the country? What are some interesting things you're noticing?
Well, I'll say in my own market, Dallas-Fort Worth, the inventory has certainly grown some. There are pockets that are slowing down and have slowed down. There are other pockets that are moving just fine. So, and of course, Dallas-Fort Worth is probably bigger than Rhode Island. So I don't know, Devin, you'll have to compare with me there. But I think it comes back to getting to know what's going on in your market. I've got a video that'll be out pretty soon talking about fix it or flip it. And what we're really focused on is when we buy right, well, we can sell. We can decide whether we want to fix. We can decide whether we want to flip. Because we're buying in a position that we adjust to the market. We also don't get in these crazy long deals where if inventories grow, we're stuck. The rehab takes 6 months and the market's looking different. Rates have changed, whatever that may be. So when it comes to our apprentices, though, we have, I think a lot of what you mentioned earlier, we have some students where they've had it on the market. They know they're priced right. They're not getting as much volume of showings. People have more to choose from, so they're not moving as quickly. But I've not seen a lot of our apprentices need to drop their price.
Right.
Because again, we study that. We look at the MLS comps. We know where we need to be. You guys had a video recently just really digging in. And one of the key points there is get the MLS data. Don't try to go to your free resource and think you're going to get it right.
Yeah.
When the market's sky high, you can make mistakes and still make money. When things have tightened up as it is, it's what you mentioned on the last question. Let's get back to the fundamentals. That's what we focus on each and every time. And it's why we always have good results. So back to your question, different parts of the country, definitely experiencing more of what you are in Florida. Here in my market, we're seeing that a lot more in the South. But again, I think it comes down to the local market, and that's what you have to get to know wherever you're doing business. That's what we help our apprentices do.
Absolutely.
We have an entire nation of apprentices that we work with on a daily basis. We're looking at their deals, evaluating comps, figuring out the best strategies for their deals. My favorite topic, one of my favorite topics, is predicting final sales price. I love it. And if y'all watched the recent video of Devin and I, we're breaking down one of his deals. You could see I even get excited about it. I'm not a gambler, but I sure love being right. I love being able to predict, okay, this is what it's going to sell for. And especially fun about that is when one of our apprentices goes, "How did you do that, Phil? I mean, I must have spent 3 days studying. You looked at it for like 10 minutes and you nailed it down to the penny." And so, going through all that, we see a lot of what's going on. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you're seeing out there. So put that in the chat. Would you like to be coached by me and my team? Every successful real estate investor has a mentor. Discover how you can be mentored by us through our apprentice program by clicking above.